Hello. Hello.
Hi, Justin.
Hi. Yeah, hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. As you can tell, I'm wearing a suit because I bought this to go on interviews before the quarantine happened, and all the jobs I was going to interview for got canceled. So I got stuck with a suit. So
There you go.
Make it seem more professional, right?
Here you go. Here's my big tip in the entertainment industry. People, you don't need to wear suits to interviews for the most part.
Yeah. But like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like how I look in the suit, but I know I'm gonna grow out of it like the second that like all this is over. So I figured just enjoy it while I can. I mean, I don't have to wear the pants. I'm wearing like athletic shorts underneath. So,
there you go.
Like all the late night show hosts now.
So now, are you in a high school program or a college program?
I'm in a college program.
Okay.
So I'm at Quinnipiac University.
Okay.
Which is in Connecticut, and we have because I'm in an advanced program, so it's 3. So I get my BFA in 3 years and then my master's in 1.
Okay.
Yeah, originally they didn't have a film master's program, but like last week they greenlit it, so I can finally stay there for my master's here.
Oh, cool.
Which gets me excited. Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah. So.
And are you from Connecticut?
No, I live on Long Island. I'm a Jew from Long Island, like all the Jews on Long Island. So.
Yeah. So I went to Syracuse with lots of people from Long Island.
Yeah, my mom went to Syracuse actually.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What year did she graduate? Do you know?
Oh, I do not know. Yeah. And I don't think that she would want me telling because it reveals her true age.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Maybe that's why I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. No, but
excellent.
Yeah, so let's get this started. This is like you're actually the first because I came up with the idea for this show because originally I was working on a documentary, and I'm still doing it on the side. Mm-hmm. But I figured I needed something to keep, like my mind going because like I'm not there like using like equipment or anything. I got really lucky because I signed out a bunch of light. I have a light over here and 2 LEDs over there just because.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just because I got lucky and signed out equipment because over spring break. Because I'm like, I need to shoot my short because we had a project due, the week we got back. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this over break. I'm the only kid that signed out equipment. And I'm happy I did.
There you go.
But I figured why not use it? So, that's, and then that's why I decided to do this because I figured because there are so many people in the industry are not just sitting around waiting. They want something to do. So why not?
So you might as well give something.
Might as well take advantage. I mean, you answered.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Who knows who else will answer?
Yeah, but so I'm just going to introduce you now because I kind of have to because that's where the show.
Yeah, guys. So
the whole thing.
The show starts. Yeah.
So, that camera's off. I'm only using this one. Yeah. By the way, this is a 2009 iMac, and I'm surprised at how good the webcam is.
All right. Looks pretty good.
Yeah. I broke my laptop once.
Oh.
It's the worst. But hey everyone, I'm here with Kevin Mock, one of the directors / editors / producers on the hit CW series DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Kevin, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And how have you and your family been during this unprecedented time?
We've actually been fine. I was planning to be, we had finished our season. So I was planning to be home during this time. We had planned some vacations, which got canceled, but that's the minor inconvenience compared to what everybody else is going through. And so, yeah, we're fine. How are you?
I'm okay. School sucks. Being online. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially film. But like, you get through it, especially because we keep some of our professors, because in theory classes you have to watch films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Zoom does not play back at the right frame rate, so it's just and it's really annoying. But like, you got it. I'd rather I just watch it. I kind of zone out. Oh god, they're gonna probably see this, but I'm probably gonna zone. I just zone out during the that part and just watch it later on. So
find it streaming somewhere where you can watch it properly.
Because like we had to watch Fight Club outside of class, but we were watching the scenes back, and you can't watch Fight Club lagging when they're just that you can't.
No, there's some pretty fast editing and some fast movement in that film that makes it really hard.
But so you said before this that you went to Syracuse.
I did. Mm-hmm.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1994, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah, before I was born.
There you go. Right. Yep. And I graduated. I majored in television, radio, and film production. And and we made small productions like this. The student television station.
Yeah. And it's just, college is fun. Just before this all happened, college was fun because this was my first. I did 1.5 semesters. That's about it. But fun while lasted. But so you want to talk a bit about what you did, what kind of work you did before Legends of Tomorrow? Because I see all that you did a lot of stuff.
I did. I have a very unusual career. Let's see. I finished college. I immediately packed up my car and moved to Los Angeles.
My mom refused to let me do that.
Well, I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to USC or UCLA or something like that. My parents, or NYU, my parents sort of nixed that, and so I ended up at Syracuse. But so I moved to Los Angeles. But fortunately, I had a lot of friends who had already moved out here a few years ahead of me. So I had contacts and places to live and help with getting jobs. And the first place I got a job was working for Roger Corman. I don't know are you familiar with Roger Corman?
Yeah. He actually directed, because I know he has the cheesy style, but like my favorite film has to be the one that he claims he never made money on, which was The Intruder. That's probably my favorite film by him.
The Intruder? I don't know that one.
It's William Shatner stars in it. It's about like race relations in the South. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, I think I have heard of that. Yeah.
It's very
I've not
good.
seen that.
You should check it out. It's very good. Yeah.
I like the sort of his like Death Race 2000. And they're cheesy, but
they're cheesy. They're good. They're good,
but they're clever. And so I knew somebody who was working there, or a friend of a friend was working there, and said, "Oh, I can get you jobs as a PA." I think I got a job as an extra, and I was an extra in a movie. And then they were like, "Oh, we're looking for PAs for the next day." Got a job as a PA, and that started a career in the sort of low budget world. So I worked at Roger Corman for a while, and we were still editing on film. And so I would work on set during the day, and then at night I would like sync up the dailies. And then I went to work for another low budget company that was modeled after the same kind of idea behind Roger Corman, which is the idea behind Roger Corman was he would make essentially 12 to 20 movies a year. So he could keep the same crew going over and over again. So you could pay the crew a lot less because they had a steady job. And so we just sort of roll those crews and just keep going to use the same sets, use the same things. So I went to another company that had the same production model called PM Entertainment. And we made essentially action movies on that plan. And I worked there for 6 years. I worked all the way from PA to editor to director and producer there. And then after 6 years of that, I went to the reality television business and worked on America's Next Top Model for about 5 years. And then I went to work on the show Chuck. After that, I wanted to get back into scripted television. So I was an editor on the show Chuck, and I wanted to get back to directing, but editing was always my way to directing. So I went back, worked as an editor on Chuck, ended up directing on Chuck, and then I directed on a few other shows since then. And then, ended up on Legends of Tomorrow, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, Legends is such a great show. Mm-hmm. It's honestly, I'd bring it, but I have a poster in my room.
Yeah.
Then I have the Ray Palmer, Sarah Lance, and Firestorm action figures. I mean, not the action figures, the Funkos.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then in my first office, because I used to run. Because my sister has autism, so I ran an organization where kids could see, like movies in a sensory-friendly environment.
Mm-hmm.
On the wall, I had like a wall of like just characters from like film and television. that I just took, I just printed out pictures and just put it all over the wall because like
Mhm.
it was in my garage. It's still probably there, but the legend. I have like 2 posters. The first one from season 1 and the second one from season 2, because Legends is just, it's such a unique group of characters.
Yeah.
From compared to like all the other shows, I feel like, and I feel like you guys have like the hardest job out of, because you guys have time travel, which throws everything.
Yes.
Because do you think that is there more research that you guys have to do than compared to the other CW DC shows? Because like, or would you say?
I mean, I can't speak to all the shows, but
Yeah.
I would say that I think yes. I think that we have to do we have to do something new every week.
Yeah.
You have to build a new world, which I think is what makes working on the show so fun.
Yeah.
Is that each director of the episode gets to come in and say, "Oh, I get to make, Versailles, yeah, or I get to do Bebo, exactly, or what and you have to figure it out from scratch." And so the people who work on Legends, and this is every department, including the art department and the the cinematographers, everyone likes working on that show because it's a show that never gets stale. There's always a new and fresh challenge each episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dislike the Flash, but you guys got like the Star. You got what? Star Labs, CCPD, and then just Jitters. You don't have like that's pretty much where it all takes place. Well, you guys.
Yeah, I mean they'll find places to do their action scenes, and they have unusual. But yes,
I know. But you guys like no other show. I think you could have one episode taking place in outer space with people going to the moon, and then another episode in Victorian England with Shakespeare.
Yeah.
No,
and I mean that's you talked about the moon. Like that was the first episode I directed for the show.
Yeah,
it was so much
a great one.
For me, it was really fun to like walk into the office, got the script, and I said, "Okay, how are we going to do this?" And came in with a few ideas. I'm like, "Well, maybe we'll do it this way." And then every other department had their ideas, and so it's a great show for collaboration where you have to be open to, because so many people have ideas, and it's a show that's really open to ideas. So someone might say, "Oh, I have a thought on how we could do that," and no one's afraid to try. So we try a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it really works.
Yes,
well, actually, most of the time it really works.
Whatever we put on the screen works sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know there's probably a lot that doesn't get put on the screen, but I think one of my favorite things about the show is how like I don't know, like I mean, like you said, it's a very collaborative show, and you could see that passion for all the characters on the screen. But for you, like when you're directing an episode, what's like the normal process that gets it down? Like, do you get to pick which script you want to direct, or do they just assign it to you and then?
No. So you, as a director, you're usually booked before they've even written the script. So they book you usually before the season starts shooting, or like if they order more episodes, they'll immediately sort of fill all those slots because they just want to make sure they have someone scheduled for each of those slots. And sometimes the writers on Legends will at least take into account who's directing the episode when they're writing it. So they'll sometimes think like, "Oh, we know that this director likes this kind of story," or, "Oh, we'd love to see what this director does with this kind of material." And so sometimes they'll cater a little bit to the director. An example of that would be the first episode of the season, which was the mockumentary episode.
Yeah.
Because I had done reality television in America's Next Top Model, they were like, "Oh, it'd be fun to do like a fake reality show, kind of lean into those things and use." So they were sort of playing. They knew, "Oh, I'd have that experience to bring to it," and then we could sort of work off of that.
Yeah.
Or we have Andrew Cash, who's an editor on the show, who's also directed episodes. He has an episode coming up this season, and he's a big horror fan. In fact, he's directed some horror documentaries, and he's made a lot of horror short films. So they built an episode that's much more horror themed that's happening later this season. And that was totally them thinking like, what would Andrew want to do? Oh, he'd want to do this. But mostly no, you don't have much say. And so as a director, you get a script and you technically get it maybe I think like 7 days before you start shooting.
Yeah.
And then and so that's
So,
do you want me to step you through the process of like how it works like that, or?
yeah, because a lot of people watching this want to go into the film industry. So
Okay, so on
yeah,
a
or
television show,
film and television. Yeah.
in film and television, so
Yeah.
on most standard television shows, the true boss is the showrunner, which is like the head of the writer. So on Legends of Tomorrow, that would be Phil Klemmer, and so and then there's various producers underneath him who also have authority, and the directors are essentially a guest for the week, but they're steering the ship for that week, And so the director gets the script. They'll get it maybe 7 days before you start shooting. And immediately they'll have to start going into, and hopefully they get it before that. I mean, if the script's available earlier, they'll give it or sometimes they'll give the director hints, or they'll give them a treatment, or just some idea of what it is it's going to be about. But immediately you go in and you have like a concept meeting where the writers sort of explain what they think the episode is about or what they were intending. And boom, you immediately go off, start scouting locations, start seeing casting tapes or clips, and then you start working with the art department if any sets need to get built or if you need to modify anything. And you basically spend a week of just intensive meetings going over all this stuff for the next 7 days. And then you start shooting, and we shoot on Legends. We shoot essentially 8 days of main unit and then a 1 day of second unit. So it's technically about 9 days, really. And that's an episode. And then the director will have, the editor has a couple of days, maybe about 3 or 4. And then the director comes in and they'll have 4 days in the editing bay to do their cut. And then that they turn that cut over. That's the director's cut. And then the producers will work through the cut. And then from there on out, it becomes the producers. It becomes Phil Klemmer's show or the other producers that work in post, and they'll lock the show from there. And so that's essentially the process.
Yeah. And then is it like that on most of the shows, like scripted television that you've worked on?
Yeah, so that's sort of a standard idea. Some shows are a little different. Some shows, like I worked in the show Heart of Dixie, which had a much shorter shoot. It only had a 7-day shoot, and then we had 5 days of prep. So it's a simpler show. It's a lot more scenes of just 2 people in a room talking. You don't have to, create a Viking battle or and so, and some things we want to do on Legends take longer than 7 days for us to plan for. So my job, that's my role as the producer, and also some of the other producers, is we try to look at that stuff ahead of time and be like, oh, what do we need to start working on in advance? Like designing a Minotaur costume takes more than 7 days. So we'll get the ball rolling and get those things started, or even like designing a Bevo takes a little bit more than 7 days. So people already started working on that before I came in to prep that episode. So you're trying to look ahead a couple of episodes ahead of time to see like, oh, what do we have coming up, or what do we need to work on next? Yeah.
And the art department, though, you posted recently on your Instagram, it was the swamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does the art department make like the location, like just figure out what exactly was that used for? Can I put that up, by the way?
Yeah, you can use
somewhere?
that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that episode was interesting in that it was all in the woods during the day. It was and that was for schedule reasons and just for production reasons. We wanted to shoot something in the woods all during the day, and there was a lot of wood scenes. And so when we were planning for that episode, we thought, well, it's going to be boring if you feel like you're in the same kind of woods all the time. Mm-hmm. So the idea was we had to find different looking woods and different sort of areas to build it in. And then it was going to end with this death tree, which was in the script, and this swamp with zombies. And that was all in the script. So we thought, okay, either we can find a real swamp to film in, which would be really difficult because one, there's not that many swamps in Vancouver, and 2, it was messy. Like we'd all be a wreck at the end of the day. So we decided we were going to build our own swamp. So we found a location which had some uneven terrain, and they brought in a lot of that vegetation, and then our special effects department piped in smoke under the dirt, and they put in those little fire pops that that sort of fire idea that we stole from Princess Bride. Right, and so they had the fire swamp, and then the tree, and then we had to build the tree from scratch. So because we could find a tree, but then if we found a tree somewhere for the location, it might not be the best spot for lighting. It might not be the best spot for us to get all our gear in there, or a crane, or but we thought, if we pick a location that we like, we can just build our own tree, put it there, and then we have maximum flexibility to work around it. So they built the tree, out of foam and parts of real branches, and they just sculpted that whole thing.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Yeah,
they do incredible work on the show, and it's beautiful. And I was really thrilled with that.
Yeah. I mean, it is a stunning show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like some people may write it off because it's a CW. Like, people have a people have a stereotype for the CW. Not saying that that's true, but I feel like Legends is like an exception, like especially in the superhero space where you have like guys with like so much creativity and you see it. But actually, I don't know where I'm going with that. I apologize.
That's it.
Yeah, I got.
Well, it's very nice. I think all those shows. I think all the shows in the CW are challenged, and they're very creative. But yeah, I'm very proud of the work that everybody on the show does. I mean, to be a small part of this big show is great.
But so you said that the post-production you were planning on doing it like from home. Is that how it's normally done, or is things like slowed down now because of like in the normal process because of the?
Well, I had directed the finale of the season, which was episode 15, and that one we finished shooting at the end of January. So we finished and locked a cut before the end of February. So before everyone had to stay at home, we were pretty much done with the editorial decisions on the episode. The only thing that was left was the sound work, the music, and this visual effects. So by the time we had to shut things down, we only really needed our vis effects editor and our visual effects producers working, and the sound team. So they were able to do it all remotely. They were actually able to finish everything. We finished a couple of weeks ago. And for the sound mix, this was the only thing that was different for me, was that we did the sound mix. I did it from home. So they just sent me a file with the sound mix on it. I listened to it, and then I just sent written notes for what I thought needed to be adjusted. But normally what we would do is we would all go together, watch it on a stage, which is always a fun experience, because then you get to see the finished show with the visual effects and the finished sound and music, and it's always sort of, it's almost like a fun screening. And then you give your notes for minor tweaks that we need to make to the sound design. And so yeah, we just didn't do that this time. So yeah, we've been lucky. We did not have as hard a time as some other shows did.
Yeah, because I follow Grant Gustin on Twitter and on Instagram, and he posted a scene that they were in the process of shooting for their finale, where he's like on a green screen. I think it was like a green screen stage, and he's in the suit, and he's like, they were supposed to, I think he said something about a cliffhanger. I think he said something about a cliffhanger with the reverse flash, but that had to be cut because now they cut their season down to 19 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, does that affect Legends at all because you guys exist in an interconnected universe, which not a lot of other shows do. So
we don't know yet. I think they're still figuring that out. I mean, yeah, because I think our writers' room is back up and working, and they're working on Zoom just like this, writing the episodes for the next season. And I think they're probably having to take into consideration that where the other shows were going to be next season is slightly different because their seasons got cut short.
Yeah.
So they do communicate and talk to the other writing staffs and figure out creatively where the other shows are. But also, it's so much is up in the air right now. We probably don't even know when we're going to air.
Yeah.
When the other shows are going to air. So that's trickier as well,
Yeah.
Like at least this year we knew our entire season was going to start after the crossover, so we could build it to fit that. But who knows next year,
Yeah. That crossover was huge, though.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think that there's been anything like that. Like, people say like Avengers Endgame was the big thing. Nah. Crisis on Infinite Earths, because they crossed universes in that.
They did.
They did.
I think the crossovers are very difficult. I mean, I don't know how many. Okay, let's use Avengers Endgame as the example. Maybe at the most, in Avengers Endgame, they have 3 film units going at the same time. You know, because a lot of films have like a main unit, and then there's a second unit that does like a lot of stunts or visual effects or detail work, and they sort of run simultaneously. Maybe on a big film like Avengers, they'd have 3. But that would still be difficult. Now think of the crossover. We were filming 5 different series at the same time and sharing the cast and the sets and the resources. So it's essentially trying to make like a big 5-hour movie with 5 crews at the same time. So constantly the cast is like, wait, what show am I on right now? Like there's people that had to be employed by all the shows just to keep track of where cast members were supposed to be each day. Like that was their job, was just to try to interpret the schedule to make it understandable. It's hard.
I don't think people realize just how big of a logistical nightmare that can be for the crossovers.
Yes, nightmare would be the accurate word. Yes.
Like, did you have a role in the crossover, like trying to figure out stuff, or?
I did have some. Yeah, I had some in the plannings, but then the episode that just aired this past week, the Zari Not Zari episode.
Yeah.
Right after the crossover. So while a lot of the crossover was being shot, I was prepping or getting ready to shoot that episode.
Yeah.
But I did get, and I helped with some of the reshoots and stuff like that. And that's just the nature of it. Was it was a big shoot. And so, you know, if let's say a cast member gets injured or is sick on another episode and there's a problem, or another shoot runs long, well, then the next day that affects all the other shoots. And so there was constantly problems that were trickling down. So you'd be like, oh, there was a problem on X show, which then caused a problem on this show. And so now that means on this day, we actually don't have this actor we thought we were going to have because they have to be somewhere else. So then so there's a lot of changing of plans or adjusting things or rescheduling things. And I got somewhat involved in some of that, but not that involved.
But was there any quick rewrites that you guys had to do just because to write a character out of a scene?
Oh, there was stuff like that. Yeah, they have to do stuff like that. Yeah, stuff. Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't do anything that was detrimental to it, but it'd be like, oh, you know what? Maybe this character could be in the scene instead. And we do that even on Legends occasionally. You'll look at scenes and you'll say, oh, you know what? We need to give this actor some time, or we need to figure out. There's other issues, or and so you think, oh, if we could take this actor out of the scene, maybe we can give the information that's coming from them to somebody else. So that happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Sorry, my dad was just talking to my sister and I got distracted for a sec.
It's okay.
Yeah. No, but we were talking about the crossover, like how like much of a logistical nightmare it can be, and then Legends. But then do you guys? Okay, this is going to be very specific, but what kind of software do you guys use to plan all that out?
You know, I don't know.
No. Yeah.
I think because that's the department. That's the assistant directors do that. Do they use Movie Magic? Honestly?
Yeah, that's what I'm being trained on. So
yeah, I think they use that. I don't know what they use for the scheduling software. I mean, I sort of sit in those meetings, but I don't know what the specific software is they use for the scheduling.
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious to see if that was the right thing to be learning.
I think it is. I've for sure worked on productions where we've used Movie Magic, so I think that'll teach you the things you need to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I write in cell text because I don't want to pay for Final Draft yet, because I don't see a reason to yet, because I'm not writing anything that requires it.
I think that's a good plan.
The school says that, oh, you need to write in Final Draft. I've been writing everything in cell text and they have not noticed. So I think I'm fine.
There are other screenwriting software too. There's Fade In, there's Highland, there's other things you can use as well.
Yeah, there are a lot. There are so many options. But so when you were in school, how much is it as stuff that or equipment? I mean, obviously you probably shot on film in the beginning. only, right?
I did. I
Or-
mean, in college, we used a lot of video. We shot a lot of stuff on video
Okay.
because it was cheaper. Film was
Yeah.
expensive. I shot my thesis thing on film, so I did some film stuff. But you want to know? Are you trying to figure out like how much technology has changed?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Avid wasn't around when I was in college,
Yeah.
so like I said, the first job I took, because my background is mostly editing.
Yeah.
The first job I took was a film editing job, and then I took a job. The reasons I switched to a different company was because I knew they had Avids, and Avids
Yeah.
were pretty new, and they were willing to train me on how to learn to use the Avid on the job. So that's a big thing. I mean, we used to make movies without cell phones. We didn't have cell phones when I don't know how we did that.
No, because this is actually the computer I'm on now. Because, like I said, like before we started recording, this is a 2009 iMac. This was like the first pretty much computer I ever used to edit something, using the flip video camera's built-in software, because that's what I had. Which is
no, I used to make. I used to edit. I used to take two VHS decks next to each other and edit that way.
Yeah.
So.
But you'd be shocked because in my school, like we had like a film society, right? And then which is basically film club, but there was we met like with a former we had a former member via Messenger, and he was talking about Avid. And I was like one of the only people that actually knew what Avid was. Yeah. Because everybody uses Premiere.
They use Premiere? Well,
yeah.
Which probably makes sense. I mean, it feels like, for a long time, Final Cut I thought was a good sort of alternative to Avid, and Premiere seems like a good one. I used Premiere 20 years ago on a project, and it was very different. But yeah, I think Premiere is a good thing.
Premiere is good. I have Avid. I got it. They were offering a discount during this crisis for students, so I figured why not get it and start experimenting. Editing, I think editing is like a skill that like I could probably get a job with, or eventually I know I could.
Yeah.
But I know Premiere like the back of my hand. I know I know tiny bit of Avid. I know Resolve, like I know a decent amount of DaVinci Resolve that I can edit in there and color grade. But and then After Effects was compositing, and then actually it was
you might have a tech leg up on me, I have to say. I've never used DaVinci Resolve.
DaVinci Resolve it's actually free if you ever want, like there's a free version.
No, I've seen the stuff for it.
If I have
I think all those skills are important to learn all the technical stuff, and to and I think to practice and just doing stuff even for yourself and just practicing is always good help.
And then Firestorm, like the light. I think it was the flame. It's like when you know what I'm talking about, like when like the flame, like his flames during. Sorry, the flames like. Hang on, Mom. I'm doing an interview.
See, you have to use the Premiere Pro there, and like you have to use your Premiere to take out that segment.
Yeah, I'll upload a full version in case somebody wants to watch this and hear my mom talk. No, but what was it? But no, the Firestorm, like the flames. That was like one of the first effects I ever did in or I ever thought I wanted to do in After Effects, which
cool.
I pretty much stole a flame stock with greens behind it from a video on YouTube. I ripped it and then I just walked around with my hand.
Even on professional stuff, that's kind of what people. Well, like for the finished version, it's all unique, uniquely created stuff. But as an editor, when you're working on projects, you need to sort of temp in effects, or as you're putting it together, it's hard to imagine what it's going to look like. And on Legends, we have a VisFX editor who sort of does a temporary version of a lot of that stuff. But sometimes you try to do some of that stuff on your own, and it's good as an editor to know how to use a little bit of those programs to sort of put in. You can rip a flame thing from something and just put it in, and it's just a placeholder. You're like, okay, this just gives me the idea of where this will be or where the flame will go. But good skills.
So how much planning goes into the like effects like beforehand though? Like, because there's just a lot of
a
that
lot.
stuff.
A lot.
Yeah.
We probably do 3 VisFX meetings. This is the production and the VisFX team before an episode even starts shooting. And those meetings can run 2 hours a piece. So you do, so in those 7 days where you're planning the episode, you meet a number of times, and each one is like a negotiation. You have to, as a director, you have to say, I think when this piece of action happens, it's going to take 3 shots, because you pay per shot with VisFX. So you have to make sure you're on budget. So you have to say, well, if Firestorm's going to blast something, I need a shot of him throwing the blast, and then I need a shot of the blast being hit, and then you need a shot, so you have to figure out. So as the director, you maybe start storyboarding or planning or making those images so that you can give an idea to everybody else what exactly it's going to be. Because also, when you shoot those things, it's really technical and time consuming, and so you don't want to shoot a bunch of stuff that's not going to get used. So yeah, the VisFX is a very well planned out part of the show.
Is there ever times where you have to be like, we can't do that, like, to people?
Yes. So that's often there's something that was in the script that we have to give up something. So usually while we're prepping, we're keeping an eye on, like, what can we cut out of this to get the budget to make sense. And then sometimes, though, once you start cutting and we're in post, we'll sort of make it. Our VisFX team is fantastic, and they find a way to make it work. So sometimes new ideas come up when you're editing the episode, and you think, oh, it should be this, or we should do this, or maybe if we added a shot of this, it'd be great, and we'll do that. And so there's a little bit of give and take, but yes, it takes a lot of planning.
Yeah, and do you feel like creativity though can come out of like those restrictions of budget? Because
yes.
I feel like that on every film like I've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because like, especially like when I first started, like, you don't have anything, so you have to be like, okay, how can I do this?
And sometimes with visual effects, you think, well, how can I do this in less shots? How can I be a bit more economical with it? Like, maybe it's not so, like, for example, like I said, Firestorm throws a blast and it hits something, right? Well, maybe the camera pans and follows the blast and hits it. Now it's one shot. It's the blast starts with his hands. You follow the blast that way. So you come up with solutions like that, or you think of ways to combine things into less shots. And
but so do you have to, the equipment to shoot that stuff, do you have to have special equipment? Do you guys have special equipment, or does everything just, when you like budgeting that out?
It depends. Sometimes we bring in special cameras for shots, or special equipment. Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, well, for example, like this last episode where there were 2 Zaris in the same time.
Yeah.
So we brought in a motion control dolly, which is a camera that's like got a robot arm that remembers where it does its move each time.
Yeah.
So that we can do all of the shots with one Zari. Then she can go change her wardrobe, hair, all that kind of stuff. Then she comes back, and then Tala does all the second half. And that's a very expensive piece of equipment that we bring in to help with that.
Yeah. And then you bring it in for that. You just pay for that.
We just bring it in for that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And plan all our shots in that one day.
Yeah. That's pretty cool though. Like, I can't wait to be able to do that one day. Just be like, I need a motion control rig for one day. Yeah. Okay, I have a budget now. I'm not sure.
Even when you have a budget, when you say that, everybody looks at you like, do you really need it? You have to sort of really explain why it's needed. Yeah. But
I feel like, would you say that this is true, that sometimes like the more money that you have, the more you feel like the more stressed you can feel, because if something goes wrong, then it costs you a lot. Since you're spending more per hour, mistakes are more costs. So, like, versus me, when I'm filming on like my camera, I'm not paying for anything.
Yeah. Like, no. And when you're working for somebody, or you're trying to, you're making it for yourself, it's a lot less stressful than if you're making it for somebody else, a studio or a network. And you hope that your creative idea, you might believe in it, but boy, you hope they believe in it,
Yeah.
And so.
Have you ever had to like pitch something that nobody thought would work, but you did and you were happy how it came out? That makes sense. Or
I've definitely pitched stuff that nobody thought would work. That maybe been shot down. Probably. I mean, I think in the end, the trick to pitching is at some point you have to convince them that it will work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not going to let you do it.
Yeah.
So they may have been skeptical, but in the end, I think that's a skill. Is you have to learn how to pitch something to the point where they can understand what it is and why it would work or why it's a value.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a skill. Like, did they teach you that at Syracuse? Like how to pitch per se, or?
No, they didn't. They should have, right? They should teach you. I mean, pitching is a very important thing in the business, and it'd be a good thing to practice or work at. Because even it's not so much even pitching a whole story, but pitching like, oh, I want to shoot this scene, but I want to do it like this. Then, that takes, that takes a certain skill set.
How would you recommend though somebody like me, if I want to practice pitching, like would you recommend just finding somebody, just be like, hey, like a friend, and just be like, I'm gonna pitch you this, just to figure out, just so like you don't stumble when you actually do it?
Yeah, I think it's a good way to rehearse pitches, but then also it's just about I'm saying pitching, like it just has to be used to convince people that your idea, helping them visualize what's in your head, and that's an important skill as a director, because you have to be able to talk to all the departments, the art department and the camera department. And, as a director, I think the best directors are the ones who help everybody understand what they want, like as far as the mood they want or the tone they want, but they don't have to tell everybody how to do it. Like you don't have to like the best directors don't tell the art director what color to paint the wall, but they can tell them what kind of room they want it to feel like, and then the art director or the production designer will say, I think this color would be good. And the director can say, yes. That's, I think the key is like, you want to be able to pitch and get everybody to understand what story you're telling. And if they understand what story you're telling, then everybody can get on board and help you tell that story. That's the most important skill, I think.
Yeah. But so would you recommend, like, I know some people that don't know how to or like try to communicate, but it's just like, feels like forcing. Do you have any tips for that kind of thing?
No, because I'm probably lousy at it too. You just have to, I don't know. If it feels like it's forced, I think then it's probably forced, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think enthusiasm and excitement, other people can feed off of that. But if it feels like if it's controlling, that's difficult. I think being a good verbal communicator is a tricky skill. I'm still working on it.
Yeah. I think everybody is though.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like everybody's just going to be terrible at it when we all come out of this.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
I mean, sure, we've been talking to each other probably more through Zoom than we do in real life, but like when we leave, like, people are going to realize that you're not on Zoom anymore.
Right. Exactly.
It's the real world.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to not realize that I don't have, like, you ever been on like those huge Zoom meetings where like you have to like kind of wait to just meet, like, it's not like in person where you can bounce ideas off of or feedback. Yes. You kind of just have to wait for people to finish. That's what I feel like is going to happen. Like when we get out of this,
imagine that's what all the writers' rooms now for all the television shows are like. They're all doing it over Zoom. Imagine trying to write a script and everyone's contributing ideas like that. It's got to be really frustrating for them.
Yeah. So does everybody do all the writers contribute ideas for the script, and then how does credit get assigned for this?
Yeah, they could speak more to that than I can, but basically most television shows they'll pitch the ideas and come up with the outlines or the main beats of the story in the room, and then they'll work out all the ideas, and then they'll send off a writer or two to go write the script of that.
Yeah.
And work out the details and flesh out the small details, and that's how they figure out who the writers are on the script.
Yeah. What is Yeah, but what? Sorry. What has been the best like? So I keep getting they're talking. Sorry about that. But I'm just gonna look at my question. Do you, so you also post like a while back. You also posted a scene about a story with the storyboard. I think it was. Hang on, I have it. It's the Atom. It's the scene
Oh
where
yeah,
the
flying
Atom,
into the gun barrel. Yeah.
yeah. So how does? So do you have? Hang on. Yeah. All right. No, but so that scene, like, how does it? How much plan? Like, do you? Is that before you've written? Is that before like you've pitched the effect, or is that to show like the artist, like, or the VFX people, like what you?
No, but
want?
that's a good example of director pitching. So they had written this episode, and it was supposed to be all documentary style, but there were all these moments with Tiny Atom.
Yeah.
And so, as the director, I was sort of like, well, how are we going to understand? How are we going to see Tiny Atom doing stuff? And so then I pitched that, can we have a camera attached to him so that it's sort of like so that that was and then some of that pitching was I had to pitch some, what would the images be like? So I worked with a storyboard artist, and we sort of, but those beats were all in the story. It was just about how we were going to tell it. And so that was what that came out of.
That was a good creative choice though to have. It was like,
oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was like a GoPro. It felt like.
Yeah, it was kind of a GoPro on his helmet, which was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, but I mean, that must be fun. That kind of stuff must be fun to shoot. I mean, it's different especially because it's different from every other episode.
No, and in fact, it was very fun. The gun barrel we built out of a pipe. We built a pipe about this wide, and then we put a GoPro on a stick and then pulled it up backwards through the pipe to make it look like a gun barrel.
That's a really cool way of doing it. I would not have thought of that.
It took a long time, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun on that episode. We even tried we did one shot with a 360 camera that we put it inside the mouth of Rasputin for when he was getting thrown in the mouth, so you could see the backs of the teeth and stuff like that. Like we did some, you only see a few frames of it, but it was fun.
Yeah, that just goes to show how much like planning goes into each episode, and like how much different types of equipment, because I don't think people like to the average viewer, I don't think they would realize like, oh, you had you rented 360 cameras probably, right? We did. We rented a 360 camera for that day, and then we rented the GoPro for a day. Yeah. I think most people think that it's all the same camera, and that you just it's just magic. It just can do everything. Yeah, no, we sometimes use different stuff for different things all the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The show's primarily shot on the Alexa, though, right? Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the default cinema camera at this point. Yeah. Or Hollywood camera. But occasionally we'll bring in a red for special shots that need to be done in the red, or sometimes we'll bring in other cameras that shoot at a higher resolution for VisFX plates. We'll do different stuff for different things. Yeah. My school, we have 2 reds, and there's this joke that I keep having with my professor, because for my senior thesis, I'm going to be like, I'm going to rent an Ari. I'm going to be because I'm like, that's kind of what more like that. I like that look better. He's like, Justin, you have access to 2 reds. Yeah. You don't need an Ari. No, you don't need it. Yeah. It's just because now. Yeah. And the thing to remember too is it's not about the equipment you're using. It's really about the story you're telling and how you're doing it. That's the important thing. Because I mean, like, if you really wanted to, I would never recommend this, but you could shoot a whole Legends episode on a 360 camera. And as long as the story is good, I don't think anybody watching would notice. Yeah. Unless they're like actively paying attention. They'd just be like, this looks different, but I don't think it would ever click. Yes. Oh, it's the 360. I don't want to watch that episode. Yeah. I feel like it'd get very dizzy at many points. Yeah. But and also very hard to plan for, because like 360 you can't hide the crew. No, that was our problem. That was our problem with the 360 was it was really hard to hide the crew in the shot. So we had more ideas and we really couldn't do much with it. Yeah. So what would you for those kinds of shots, like where you have to kind of hide the crew, does that mean you have to hide the light? I assume you have to hide a lot of the lights too.
You did, yeah. That one we pulled the lights out. So there was one part where you could see a crew member, but we just covered it up in VisFX, and because he had to hold and we built like a stick that the camera was on. It only really worked for a few frames. It didn't work nearly as long as we wanted it to, and it didn't quite do what we wanted it to. But we tried.
I mean, you tried, and you got the shot in the episode. Like, even if it was a few frames. Barely, but you got the shot of the episode. Yes. So, like, it wasn't for nothing. You can't say it was a waste. So
no.
But
yeah, no. But sometimes, you know, we like to do shots sometimes where you see the whole room. You do a 360 and you cover it up. And so, yeah, you have to do all kinds of clever stuff behind the lights, or they'll find ways to make the light sources be in the room. You know, we try to use the light that's in the room sometimes.
So then, does that have to be planned in, like, does it have to be planned in advance too? Like, how much of that gets planned in advance? All of it, or just some?
Yep. No, a shot like that, you definitely have to plan in advance. You can't tell the director the day, like, hey, I want to do a 360 right here. And he'll be like, well, I have lights that I was going to put here and here. I don't have anywhere to put my lights, you know? And the sound department has to know, because they have to be able to boom mic.
Oh, yeah. Wait, so what, for a shot like that, how would you boom it? Would you? Sometimes
they boom it. Sometimes they just use the radio mic that's there. You can't get the boom in there.
Yeah.
Those shots are tricky. We do them every once in a while, but not that often.
Yeah. Then, how much of the show gets? This is just a question for you. How much of the show gets shot via like on just a green screen set? Because that's or
not that much. I mean, we use green screen in conjunction with sets, like outside windows sometimes.
No, I've seen some behind.
But not as much as some shows do. Yeah, you know, some shows use, like Once Upon a Time. That show,
I watched
a lot of green screen.
Yeah,
we don't use nearly that much.
And I think it's better when you don't use a lot of green screen, because you can instantly tell when it's green screen. Yeah. Like, even if I feel like even if a practical element looks kind of fake, like doesn't look as natural as it could, but like it's still, you can touch it.
Yes.
It's like my problem with some films, like the original Green Lantern movie, like, you can't touch Ryan Reynolds' suit in that.
No.
You cannot. But, like, Ray Palmer's suit, 100%, I can go out and touch it. Like, even in CG, it still looks like I can go out and touch that, because I have a reference for what it's supposed to be.
You've seen a physical presence of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So does that go into...
incredible. Yeah.
It is. I can see how many... Is there just one of that?
I think there's two. But there's but they're incredible.
I could see why you guys didn't give him a costume upgrade, like, pretty much.
No, we loved it.
It's incredible, yeah. Plus, I'm sure that's very expensive.
It was a very expensive suit. It's not very comfortable, and it's very hot.
Yeah. Is it the most expensive suit on the show, though?
I think so, probably. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the budget number is for each of the suits, but I would probably say yes.
Is that the one that they carried over from Arrow?
It did. So it was already built before we came. So that way,
So then, you didn't have to budget for that, I guess.
Yeah. But when you use it, it takes a team of 3 people each time. So when you've got to have the suit, so that's another thing. You have to plan that kind of stuff in advance. Like, on this day, so Adam's in this scene. You have to say, like, is he wearing the suit, or is he Ray Palmer? And it's important to know that in advance, because if he's going to be in the Adam suit, well, that adds, a bunch of time for him to get into the suit, and you need to bring in the team of 3 people that are going to help him get the suit on and support it for the day.
How long does it take him to get in the suit, though?
I don't know. I'd probably say about a half hour, maybe a half hour to 45 minutes.
That's you're working on a site. That's a lot of time. That's a long time.
No, and then, it gets hot, so that if it's going to be, about a half hour before we need them again, you let him take a break. You have to let him take half of it off so it can, get a break. Yeah, it's hot there.
Yeah, I don't think people realize just how hot those kinds of suits can be.
They're awful.
Yeah. They're not the most practical for fighting crime in real life.
Yeah. So I probably have about 10 more minutes here, I think. And then
and I probably am going on way too long, because it's good. But do you have any advice for people trying to enter into, like, that want to enter in or do something?
Yeah. My advice I usually give to people, which is, you're doing a great thing here, is I think, just keep making things on your own as much as you can, and try to do it with, other people. It's hard to do that in this environment right now, but I think the key to getting your first jobs in the entertainment business, every job you're going to get in the entertainment business is going to be from somebody somebody you've worked with. You know, I don't get many jobs based on just like a resume or an interview. I get jobs because someone says, "Oh, I worked with Kevin, and this is someone you should work with."
Yeah.
And that's going to be even your way to getting your first PA job and things like that. And so, you know, my advice is in college, right? You're a sophomore this year?
Technically, yeah, because it's my first year, but like I've only have 3 years, so I would just say yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first freshman,
Yeah.
summer, which is good. So my advice is next year when you're back on campus,
Yeah.
make your own projects, but then also volunteer to help on projects of people that are upperclassmen or that are graduate, because those are the first people that are going to go out in the workforce and start getting jobs, right?
Yeah.
And when a production is looking for PAs, they don't turn to the director and say, "Hey, do you know any PAs?" They don't turn to the DP and say, "Do you know any PAs?" Who do they turn to? They turn to the PAs that they like. So they'd say, "Hey, we like this guy Mike who's a PA. Who can you recommend?" And he'd be like, "Hey, you know what? I know this guy Justin who's moving here, who just got out of school. You should hire him."
Mhm.
And that's how you're going to get your first jobs.
Yeah.
And so, because the people who know the entry level jobs are the people who have just gotten entry level jobs.
Yeah.
And so I think try to build a community like that for yourself that supports people your own age and your own, that really will be a good support group for you. And so, yeah, just make a bunch of projects and help out on a bunch of projects is my biggest advice.
Thank you. So this is gonna probably be up on May 8th if things go correctly, like in my planning. So and then I don't think the Legend season is over yet, right? By that point?
I think
I think
I'm not sure because they changed our air dates, so I'm
Did
trying
they?
to think.
Oop, my dog.
No, we'd still be airing. Yeah, we'd still be airing.
Do you want to promote this the last few episodes?
So there we go. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so we have the last few episodes. The last couple of episodes are really incredible. And in fact, we have one that Guggenheim directed that's really good. It's the second to last episode of the season.
I'm excited to see your finale. So
And the finale is really fun. And I'm looking forward to people seeing those episodes. So
yeah. So thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Good luck in your the rest of your semester, however this works out.
Yeah, I don't honestly. Online film school, I don't know how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, I don't think it really does, huh? Watch a bunch of movies. Watch a lot.
That's
of
what
movies.
I've been doing. Yeah.
Watch a lot of movies. Write if you can write some stuff. You know.
Yeah. And so I guess that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so
Justin.
much. Have a great day and stay safe.
Thanks. You too. Bye.